Hello everybody, welcome back to part 2 of this video series talking about mid-level Ironman goals. In this video series, we are looking at useful and productive goals to aim for while you are progressing through the game as an Ironman. The first few videos of this series will be looking at quests. In the last video, we looked at 3 quests that gave major unlocks. Today, we'll be looking at quests that gave gear unlocks. As suggested by the name, you will receive new and useful items from these quests. A quest that falls in this category is River of Blood, which gives you the Sun Spear. I have already talked about River of Blood in the previous video in this series, so I won't be covering it again in this video, so please watch the first part if you have not already. Without River of Blood, there are 7 quests in this list that I think are worthwhile aiming for gear unlocks on your Ironman account. Number 1. Branches of Darkmeyer. While I won't be talking about River of Blood, it doesn't mean I won't talk about an earlier quest in the same quest line. Branches of Darkmeyer is the 7th quest in the Mariku quest line. It is 2 quests ahead of River of Blood with much lower requirements. This quest gives you access to the Blisterwood tree and as a result Blisterwood weapons. By cutting and fletching Blisterwood logs, you can make tier 70 weapons for each style, polearm for melee, staff for magic, and stakes for ranged. For melee and magic, this is probably the easiest way to access a tier 70 weapon. For ranged, you can use a black salamander as an alternative, but it is definitely nice to have the Blisterwood stakes as a backup. While the Blisterwood is a tier 70 weapon, it is unaugmentable. What is good about Blisterwood is that it is super easy to make with very low cost in terms of both time and raw resources. This makes it an ideal weapon if you plan to do any wieldy activities. Number 2. Fremennik Trials. Fremennik Trials, or Fremennik Trials, is the first quest in the Fremennik questline and allows you to become an honorary member of the Fremennik people, but we don't really care about that. The completion of Fremennik Trials grants you the ability to travel to Waterbirth Island and gives you the ability to wear Fremennik armor. Fremennik armor are tier 50 power armor. There is 1 for each style. Spined armor for ranged, skeletal for mage, and rock shell for melee. They can be made by killing monsters on Waterbirth Island, then taking the drops to the right person in Relica who will make the armor for you. The ranged spine armor is made from hides dropped by ranged Dakonoth and is made by Sigli the Huntsman. The mage skeletal armor is made from bones dropped by Walasakis and is made by Pierre the Seer. The melee rock shell armor is made from rock shells dropped by giant rock crabs and is made by Skullgrimmen. While these armors are horrendously ugly, they are great armors to get you through the mid levels. It is definitely worth your time to go kill these monsters in the Waterbirth dungeon to make yourself a set armor for each style. The access to Waterbirth also gives you access to Dakonoth Kings. By killing the Dakonoth Rex, you can get a dragon hatchet for woodcutting, which is another super useful item for the mid game. Number 3. Lunar Diplomacy. While we are talking about Fremennik, it is also worth mentioning another quest in the Fremennik questline, Lunar Diplomacy. We will be exploring Lunar Diplomacy multiple times in this series as this quest gives you a lot of different unlocks. For this video specifically, Lunar Diplomacy also gives you access to Lunar Armor. While this armor is not really that useful on main scheme, it is very useful for an Ironman. The Lunar Armor is a tier 60 magic power armor. It is relatively cheap at around 200k to replace the whole set, plus it is non-degradable. It is strong enough to carry you through to the God Wars dungeons and can be used to leapfrog yourself to tier 70 and 80 armor. Number 4. Elder Kiln. Elder Kiln is the first quest exploring the origins of Tatar and gives you the item Tokuzo as a reward. Tokuzo has the ability to increase damage against volcanic creatures within Tatar, but that's not the reason why we want this item. Tokuzo gives you unlimited access to the different areas around Tatar, the Tatar main plaza, the fight pit, the fight cave, and the fight Kiln. Of course, we don't really care about Tatar itself. There's not that many important resources in the area for an Ironman. However, the fight pit, fight cave, and fight Kiln teleports all bring you directly next to a bank, making the Tokuzo one of the easiest infinite teleport items that you can get that brings you straight to a bank. In addition, the 5k teleport is also very close to a fairy ring. This makes the 5k my default teleport option on the Tokuzo. The close proximity to a bank and a fairy ring makes this a very convenient teleport. I think this may be one of the closest teleport to a fairy ring before unlocking scaling portals. A use for this teleport spot is for summoning training, where you can withdraw your pouch creating materials at the 5k bank, teleport to the Canifis fairy ring, take the shortcut to Natural Grotto, make your pouches, and then teleport right back to the 5k using your Tokuzo. Very useful for mid-level summoning training. Number 5. Forgiveness of a Chaos Dwarf. Sticking with the theme of creatures living underground, the next quest on this list is Forgiveness of a Chaos Dwarf. Forgiveness of a Chaos Dwarf is a quest in the Dwarf questline dealing with the Red Axe mining company of Keldegrim. Completing the quest itself doesn't give much of a reward, but it does grant you access to the Chaos battlefield, which contains, perhaps unsurprisingly, Chaos Dwarfs. The reason we care about Chaos Dwarfs is that Chaos Dwarfs has a chance to drop the Dragon Pickaxe. The drop rate is fairly low, but it is a worthwhile grind to set yourself up for mining training. In fact, you will need 2 pickaxes to make the best pickaxe in the game. Number 6. One of a Kind. From cave people to lizard people. One of a Kind is a Dragon King quest looking at Hannibus the Dragon Rider. One of the rewards for this quest is the Dragon Rider Amulet. At the time when you can complete this quest, the Dragon Rider Amulet will be the amulet with the highest stats you'll have access to for a fairly long time. The amulet also has an effect where it will boost the damage of the Dragon Breath ability, which makes this amulet super nice for any magic combat you do. Aside from the stats and the boost to Dragon Breath, it also doubles experience for burying Dragon Bones. This isn't a major game changer for an Ironman, since most of your prey experience will either come from killing Vile Watchers or cleansing crystals. Any excess bones you have will probably be offered to the Chaos Altar for boost experience. However, this feature does work with Bone Crusher, so it is a nice boost to prey experience whenever you're killing dragons without intending to note the bones for future use. Number 7. Recipe for Disaster. The 100th quest anniversary quest, Recipe for Disaster, is probably one of the most well-known quests in RuneScape and gives one of the most iconic quest reward items in the game, the Culinary Mancer's Gloves. There are 10 Culinary Mancer's Gloves, which gives an increasing level of stats, and a Bible from the Culinary Mancer's chest, depending on how far you have gotten in the quest. While they are not named as such in the game, due to their style, they are referenced as their relevant tier metals. For example, Culinary Mancer's Glove 8 is a tier 50 glove and are nicknamed Rune Gloves. Culinary Mancer's Glove 9 is tier 60 and nicknamed Dragon Gloves. Culinary Mancer's Gloves 10 is tier 70 and nicknamed Barrow's Gloves. Barrow's Glove is the glove that gets the most attention as it offers the highest stats out of all of the gloves. However, the final tier unlock does require completing the entire quest, which may have some rather difficult requirements depending on where you are in your Ironman journey. As a result, you should not rule out using Rune or Dragon Gloves while you're working towards the completion of the quest. The gloves are all hybrid and can be used in all combat circumstances. We are far from the days when these gloves were considered best in slot, but tier 70 gloves are definitely nothing to be scoffed at, especially considering that high tier gloves are actually pretty difficult to acquire on an Ironman. This brings us to the end of the video. We have gone through 7 quests which give some very important gear unlocks for your Ironman. In the next video in the series, we'll be looking at quests that gives you account unlocks. If this video has been helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.